Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting that bell notification so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. We have videos going up daily. But sometimes, you know, you're lucky buggers if I'm in a good mood, particularly if West Ham have just beaten Chelsea. I might put in 2 or 3 videos a day. So you want to make sure you don't miss any stories, any memories, any sort of experiences from fans and ex-players. Everything's brilliant, so make sure you hit that bell icon. You can see who we've got today. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty stoked. He's been chatting about West Ham all day, so you know you can just carry on today. He played over. You know, he made over 160 appearances for the club. You know, across a long time. You know, we'll go through that and talk about his career. But it's Anton Ferdinand. How you doing, man? How's things?
Good, thank you. I'm really good, thank you. Thanks for having me. So it's a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. And it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. It's really, really nice. I know everyone says it, but how's lockdown treating you? How is it treating you?
Yeah, it's been hard. I'm not going to lie. It's been hard. It's been mentally hard, obviously, when you're not used to, when you're out of your comfort zone, not doing the norm. Everyone likes the norm in life. You know, everyone likes routine, and it ain't been that. It's been hard, but I found it better when I've found a routine and kept to it, you know. But just like everyone else, you get on with it and you do what you got to do.
Yeah, you do. And I follow you Insta, so you've been working out. So that's
yeah. Like I said, I need to do something.
Yeah, I know it's bad, isn't it? But you know, football's back, and you know, we're all West Ham fans have got an extra skip in their step today after yesterday's game, which was pretty awesome. You know, obviously a sad thing because obviously that's one of those games that people will be talking about for a long time. But there was no fans there. I was there, but apart from that, it was you know, it must have been weird for the players because it was such an emotional game and there was no one there. Weird, wasn't it? It's just weird, but
yeah,
it needs must.
Yeah, it is. It's like, you know, like the London derby, especially at home. When I was Upton Park, when I played, it was Upton Park. You know, they're the games you didn't even need to worry about. You didn't even think about getting up for them games. It was automatic. It came to you. You know, it must be even harder. It must be hard now without no fans having to try and get up for a game.
Yeah.
You know, but say this is typical West Ham. You know, it was like this when I was playing in the team. It was like the games that you expect us not to win, we'll win them.
Yeah. And
then there'll be, especially in a relegation battle, in a game that we should win, we don't. You know, like in my day, and when I was playing, it was saying my day like I'm old, but in my team, it was so we went away to Charlton where we should really win the game and we got beat 4-0. Yeah. But then we go to Man United last game of the season and beat them 1-0. Like that's just West Ham. We do things the hard way.
We do things the hard way, but I'm hoping we just do the things that we don't do it the hard way. We win the next couple of games, and then we'll be all right by the time we don't have to go to Man United again and win again away. That's what I'm worried about. But you're right, it's the West Ham way. So I mean, you know, from you, Anton, you know, and actually, when I interview ex-players, I always say, why West Ham? But you were West Ham from the age of 9, weren't you, really, when you signed?
Yeah.
Why was I know it's a silly question, but why was West Ham your club? Why is it your club?
Just everything about it. The family feel to it. You know, like obviously, Rio was 14 when he signed. I was 9. And a guy by the name of Dave Goodwin, who was a scout for West Ham over in the southeast London area. He was our district manager, and he took us both. And I used to go to the Centre of Excellence. So when I was young, it was called the Centre of Excellence, not the Academy.
Yeah.
But they had Centre of Excellence centres all over London. So they had one in South London, one in East London, one in West London, one in North London. And I went to the one in South London, which was in Beckenham. There was me, Kieran Richardson, and Ben Watson. All 3 of us went to that one. And then me and Kieran got fast-tracked to Chadwell Heath. We did. And me and Kieran, when we were like 11, when we were like 12, we were playing under 14s, me and Kieran, because that's when you started playing. That's when you actually started to wear a shirt. Was like when you was under 14s. And me and him got fast tracked there, and we started playing games and stuff. And it was just, I don't know, just like you hear people say about West Ham as a club. Once you play for them, even when you come as a grown up, you come to the club, it does something to you, and it grips you, and it makes you. It just makes you fall in love with the club. And I had that at the age of 9. You know, I grew up in South London. West Ham wasn't my local team. No. Millwall was my local team. Not that I've ever supported them. Yeah. You know, but everyone on my estate supported Liverpool. Yeah. You know, but I always loved Paul Ince as a kid. You know, and so I knew he played for West Ham. And one of my mum's close friends, her name's Pat. She worked in my primary school. She's always supported West Ham because of Clyde Best. Yeah. You know, so she always used to talk about West Ham herself. We call her Auntie Pat now. But yeah, Pat, that's where it came. And I started playing for them. Rio started playing for them. And the club just grips you. There's something about the club that just grips you. And then obviously Rio got into the first team, and I started travelling everywhere, watching him play up and down the country. So I was sitting in the stand with the fans. Yeah. And when you sit in the stand with the fans, there's an even bigger hold on you. Yeah, because there's something about sitting in the stand, especially away games with West Ham fans. It's unexplainable.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. You're right, and it's weird. Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, some people I speak to, some of the fans, I go, right, so why West Ham? They go, do you know what? I don't know, but I'm just like, I'm just a West Ham fan. And you're right. It's part of that, and that's what comes through the whole thing of this sort of channel. It's like we've interviewed. I mean, it's only been live for like 6 weeks. We've almost done 100 interviews already, and all the fans and all the players. It's all about this spirit, this community. You know, it's this club, and it's. I don't know if we're biased or not, but it doesn't seem to have that sort of grip on other clubs. You know what I mean? I mean, I think it's probably is, but we're sort of in this bubble, this West Ham bubble. But I can totally see.
You just got to look at it like this. Carlos Tevez played for West Ham. Yeah. He played for Manchester United. He won the Champions League with Manchester United, but he talks more about West Ham. Yeah. If there's one club he'll come back to in England, it'd be West Ham.
He said the other day, wasn't it? He said the other day. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not about us. It's not about us being biased. It's a fact.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? Like, let's have it right. He will come to West Ham because of how the club made him feel. Yeah. It gripped him. You speak to when I played. How many players came from up north or from different parts of the country? Yeah. A lot of them, now you speak to them, they're West Ham fans.
Yeah, it's true.
And it wasn't before they came.
No, you're right. You're totally right. And someone like Carlos is a great example because he wasn't there for a particularly long time with us, but he just got it, didn't it? And you're right. And you see people like. Like James Collins, who still lives around the area, and out a bit older on Alvin Martin. These guys are not from round here, so to speak, but it just got them. And you're right, people like the older guys like Mark Ward and McAvenny.
Marlon Hare would the same. Marlon Hare was a fully fledged West Ham fan.
Yeah.
But he wasn't when he first come.
Nah, it's funny, isn't it? It's just that association with the fans and the players, and I think. It just grips you, doesn't it? As you said, and I can't recall anyone leaving the club and having a bad word to say about the fans. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And they never forget the fans. So yeah, it's like it's great. And obviously, you went on to play, over 160 or I think it's 162 or something like that. I think I counted appearances, which was a hell of a lot, man. And obviously, since during that time, there was obviously some really good moments, obviously playoff stuff. What was it like being in a playoff game? I think you were probably my first person I've interviewed who's been in a playoff final. So that whole period, what's it like in terms of stress for you?
I actually felt more pressure in that game than I did the FA Cup final the following year, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I was disappointed the year before. Personally, I was disappointed. And as a fan, I was disappointed that we lost to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed I wasn't even on the bench for the game at the Millennium Stadium. I mean, I played left back for the last 5 games of that season. Done really well and scored a goal against Watford that got us into the playoffs.
You did, yeah.
Which was my first goal for the club. And then as soon as the playoffs come, Alan Pardew took me out of the team, and I was a bit gutted about that.
Yeah.
And then when it came to the final, Rufus Brevett just got fit, and he hadn't played any games, and he put Brev on the bench, and I wasn't in the 18, and it really did hurt me.
Yeah.
But then you look at it now, and it put me in good stead for the following year, because all that hurt that I had from the following year, not just from losing it and as a West Ham fan, but personally not playing and being left out, that hurt was still there.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know what, I'm going to change that, take that hurt and change it into a positive, and I'm now playing. I'm going to make sure that I use this 90 minutes or 120 minutes, whatever it may be, to change the negative into a positive. And as I said, I felt more pressure in that game. I think the pressure was because I knew. I think that was the last year of our parachute payments.
It was, yeah.
So I knew if we didn't win that game, I knew the club, forget me, forget the players, I knew the club was going to be in a bit of bother. You know, and that's the fan in me that was like, no, we have to win this game. Like, do you know, because if we don't, then people's jobs, people's livelihoods are on the line here.
Yeah, fuck.
You know, and then you think about the fans and you think, like, we need to go back into Premiership. This is a Premier League club. We need to go back up in there.
Yeah.
But the biggest concern for me was like the people that you don't see, the Jimmy Friths of this world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These people, all of a sudden, if we don't go up and the parachute payments are cut, they might not have a job. The cleaners, the cooks, they might not have a job. So, like, that's just me. That's just the way I thought.
I get that.
I felt. So I felt more pressure in that game than I did the FA Cup final. But to go out there and represent my club, going from the stands to the pitch, and getting that win to go up into the Premier League. Yeah. Every boy dreams about playing the Premier League, and for it to come true with your boyhood club, you know, words can't even explain it. I think my celebrations, I was the last one off the pitch that day. Yeah. I think I was out there for about 45 minutes and people were trying to drag me in, but I didn't want to go anywhere, you know. And as I say, like, they're the moments that live with me and they will live with me forever. Yeah.
No, I get that totally. Do you know what? I'll be honest. I don't think, you know, it's like, it's really humbling the way you talk about the pressure, because you don't think of, I think it's an assumption, isn't it, sometimes, that people think it's football players, but actually if it's your club as well, you think about, you know, the consequences of what could happen. And it's like, yeah, you know, could you imagine like Jimmy not being around? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And people like that. It's like, yes, I didn't think about it. Yeah, but it's so true. Yeah,
you know what I mean, you got this to name a few. You got Jimmy Frith. You got Shirley, who was the cook.
Yeah.
And Tim DF, who was the cook there as well. But Shirley had been there for years.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure if she was even on a contract. She might have been on a week to week. That's just the way they've done it with some of the people there. Yeah. And you got the kit, the one of the kit men, Peter Williams.
Yeah.
You know, he was deputy kitman. Would he have had a job the following season and things like that? So, and these are people that I've known since I was 9 years old.
Yeah, even more so. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
so it's not even like it's people that I've just known since I come in the building as a first team player. I've known these people. They've watched me grow up. So it's a bit my relationship with these people is different.
Yes, no, I get that.
You know, my relationship different to a lot of people within the club. Because even the likes of Tony Carr, that's why Tony Carr put him in his 11. What it meant to me was like, it's unexplainable.
Yeah, no, I got that.
He watched me grow up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like these people have played a pivotal role in not just me as a footballer, but me as a human being.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I look at things differently, like that when it comes to West Ham. But one thing I will say is I have taken the fundamentals that I learned from West Ham. I've taken them actually everywhere that I've been.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah.
You know, so like if we're doing something, like I'll give you an example. Lucas Neal brought this into our club in the year that we nearly got relegated. Like if we are when we're winning, every time we win a game, we had to bring money in from our win bonus, and at the end of the season or every other month, that pot of money would get shared out between the people who worked at the training ground who weren't on bonuses.
Wow.
And I was like, well, why are we doing that? Like, not that I was against it, but what I just wanted to know why. And he said, listen, Anton, you got kit men who ain't on bonuses. If we're like giving them a bonus, do you not think they're going to go the extra mile for us? If you not think like if we give the ground staff a bonus, do you not think the pitches are going to be perfect for us? Like it's little them little percentages are going to make a massive difference.
Yeah.
And that type of stuff I took to Sunderland with me when I went to Sunderland.
Yeah.
You know, and like I remember one of the cleaners at Sunderland, we needed to beat West Ham last game of the season to finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as a team, we didn't get no bonuses. We only got a bonus. We finished in the top 10, and we needed to beat West Ham at Upton Park, and we did that. But that win paid for one of the cleaners to get her extension finished on her house because of the money that we was generating for them, putting it together.
Yeah.
And them things mean more to me than anything else. But that was installed in me at West Ham.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense.
From the age of 9, not what Lucas Neal done to me, but that caring side. It not that it wasn't me as a person anyway, but in terms of within football, it was installed in me from West Ham.
Yeah, no, I get that. No, it makes perfect sense, and you're right. And it's also, Anton, it's things like that go on behind the scenes, and I think it's nice to have like you talking about that because. You know, some people had preconceptions of Lucas Neal from a fan's perspective, you know, in terms of he was on a big weight. But actually, you know, people only see one version. And actually, there's so many more layers to people and stuff like that. And that's why I like getting the ex-players on because they give a different perspective. Even with the people they pick for their teams, you know, a classic example is Peter Butler. So Peter Butler's a player, what hasn't been in any fans 11, but all the players I've interviewed
that played with him.
Yeah, Butts is a great guy, and he's got a great. I interviewed him recently. He's got a crazy life. He's living in Liberia. He lives in a house owned by George Weah. He's got a mental life. He's brilliant. His interview was incredible because the amount of work he did when he was the Botswana manager and the Liberia manager, it's incredible, the story. You know, we moan about things and he's like he's doing these performance camps in prisons and stuff like that. So it's mental. But every player, like, who do we have on? We had like Martin Allen, we had Jonah, all put Butts in. And again, because they saw a different side of him. They knew what a great player he was when he obviously came from Southend and stuff like that. And it's true with everything else, understanding more about, you know, what goes on behind the scenes. Because I don't think anyone really knows that type of thing. It's like, you know, I've never had the opportunity to ask someone like yourself, what's it like to play in a playoff final? Now, clearly, it's an extremely stressful time compared to, especially for a West Ham fan. And obviously that fed through to the rest of the team. Because obviously, if you've got that sort of anxiety as a fan, and it's a bit like now with Mark Noble, and sort of trying to impart some of that West Hamness into the rest of the team who might not necessarily be West Ham fans.
Yeah.
And I see that definitely. I mean, the year before that Crystal Palace one was horrible. I mean, I still do a little bit of DJing, like for my family and friends. If anyone asks me to play Glad All Over, I still don't play it. It's still. I just have these visions of about 40,000 yellow shirts bobbing to Glad All Over, and I still get nightmares over it. But yeah. But that's the thing. And that's the great thing about this. Now, what we try and do is we try and do this Hammers 11, and Anton. So basically, the idea is we pick 11 people, 11 players, and the fans will be obviously players that they've seen play live during that time, and players tends to be the people to play with. I think what's cool is if you could do like a hybrid, because you're a fan and you've been a player. So doing like a combo sounds quite cool. And we haven't had that before, so I'm really looking forward to that. We try and keep it to a 4-4-2 as well if we can. But if you want to go 3 at the back, if you want to play wing backs, you can do whatever you want, Anton.
Okay.
You have carte blanche, basically.
No problem. I'll go 4-4-2 then. I'll go 4-4-2.
Thank you, because I'm not very good at video editing. This isn't my day job. Right. Okay. Let's go in goal for this Anton 11. Who do we have between the sticks? Who we have?
Ludek McCluskey. to
Oh,
win his stick.
Ludo. What a great bloke. What a great player as well.
Yeah, I'll go Ludek.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Who are we going to go left back?
Left back, Julian Dix.
Yeah. Julian.
I played with some great left backs, but I didn't play with Julian. I watched Dixie. I watched him obviously play when he played with Rio.
Yeah.
And he was a joke. His ball into the front man was unbelievable. And he wore his heart on his sleeve. I loved it.
Yeah. Especially as a fan,
Yeah.
I think that's why everyone. I mean, there's no surprise. Despite doesn't matter how experienced, not old, how experienced the fan is. Literally, he's appeared in almost I don't know 70% of our interviews because he just had that West Hamness, which I think, in the modern day, I don't think we have. Obviously, we have one or two. We have obviously Mark and Deck. They have some West Ham stuff about them. But after them, it's like,
who do you have?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think that's the trouble with. I think that's why we don't relate to players as much more. I mean, yours was the last era. I think that because you'd hang around for. I mean, you was around since you was 9 years old. With the club. And now it's like if you get 2 years out of a player or a manager, you've done well with them. Do you know what I mean? Everyone moves so quickly now, but I don't think you get that relationship with them. Right, okay, we'll put Julian in. Let's go right back, Anton. Who we got right back, man?
Right back. I'll go Lucas Neal.
Yeah,
I'll go right back.
Good captain, on the pitch and stuff as well.
Yeah, really good on the pitch. He was so when we stayed up. Before we went on the run to stay up, when we beat Man United last game of the season, I remember him calling a meeting, and when he called the meeting, the team meeting in one of the rooms, in the meeting rooms, Curbs tried to walk in on it, and Mervyn Day tried to walk in, and he went, "No, it's just players. Can you leave the player? But I want to talk to my players," and they left. And everyone's a bit like, "Rob, what's going on here?" And he was just like, "Listen, lads, we know what we need to do to get out of this situation, right? The gaffer's going to give us tactics. The gaffer's going to give us formations and all that stuff. But we know hard work is what's going to get us out of this. And if you're not willing to work hard for this team and for this club, then there's the door. And I suggest you walk out of it. Or if you don't want to walk out in front of the lads now, you come and tell me, and I'll tell the gaffer to tell you to pee off." And that was a start, and then we went on a mad run.
Yeah, he did. Wow, God, I'd be so scared because it's obviously that Australian intenseness as well. Oh God, all right. But Lucas Neal, let's go centre halves. Who are we having centre half then, Anton?
Definitely, obviously my brother, definitely.
Yeah, I read somewhere about obviously because and I think we're right. In 2000, was it January 2006? You won Premier League Player of the Month, didn't you? Was it 2006? Was that? And that's the only time that two brothers have won that award. I think that was amazing. And for you, obviously, what was that as an achievement? Winning Premier League. I mean, I don't think there's been many West Ham Premier League winners of the month. What was it like to?
No, it was unbelievable. Obviously, a great achievement personally. And when you look at it, I think there's only 13 centre backs who have won it in total since the Premier League started. And it's a good quiz question, by the way, because not many people, no one will get me.
Nah.
No one will think about me to get off getting it. And there's a couple of others like Gareth Southgate. You won't think about him either. You won't think about. There's other people but there's people that haven't won it who you think would have won it.
Yeah.
So I think there's only 13 or 14 centre backs who have actually won it, and to be in that list is great. It's a great achievement. It's an honour.
Oh, it's incredible. And how's that happen? Does your agent get a call from the Premier League, or does the club get a call and say you've won it?
The club. Yeah. The club told me I'd won it, and at the time, I think because I found out about it just before one of the games, so I weren't really. I was just like, okay, I've won Player of the Month. It weren't really anything. It's only when afterwards, a few days after, you know what I mean? Then you see in the papers I'm holding the Player of the Month, and it's like, wow, this is unbelievable. And then when you research into it, it becomes even bigger for you.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it was nice that, and like I said, like, listen, anything that I've done with West Ham, whether it will be a personal achievement or an achievement with a club, the fact that I was wearing the West Ham shirt at the time when I won it means it even more to me, because like I said, I've gone from the stand to the pitch, and I know to win that award, I must be giving the fans something that
I get you.
I would have wanted as a fan watching.
Yeah.
You know, so like anything like that, it's just a massive thing for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. And if it was like, I don't know, 12 years later, you'd look at yourself a FIFA card, wouldn't you? And you'd have, because that's all the Premier League players of the FIFA. Mental when you think about it, 13 players have won, centre backs has won it. Absolutely crazy. Right, okay, we'll put Rio in. Who's going to partner your brother then? You going to put yourself in?
Nah, I can't put myself in the team.
Of course you can.
I can't. It would be a good team with me and Rio at the back, I tell you.
It'd be telepathic.
I think, like, yeah, it'd be good, but there's two players that I've been milling over all day, and that's Slaven Bilic and Danny Gabidon. They're the two that I'd partner Rio with. Slaven was unbelievable for Rio when he come into the team. Any West Ham fan who watched Rio come into the team would know that Slaven helped him a great deal.
Definitely.
Along with Dixie and along with Alvin Martin. Helped him a great deal. But then I look at Gabs, and I played with Gabs, and Gabs was probably one of the most underrated players I played with.
Totally.
People don't realise how good he was. You know, he wasn't big, but he hardly lost a header.
Yeah.
He was good with the ball at his feet. He was quick. So I think I'm going to have to go with Gabs, because for me, like, I never had to worry about him.
Nah.
You know, I always knew he was going to do what he had to do. I never had to worry about him. If someone tried to run him in a channel, I didn't have to worry about him. Yeah. He was quick enough to deal with it himself. Yeah. Which allowed me to concentrate on my game more. You know, so I'd have to go with Gabs.
Yeah. And when you bring like forming a new like centre back partnership, do you like? It's the same as a strike partner. I've asked TC the same thing. How do you sort of get that partnership together? Do you have to hang out a lot and become mates, or is it just like, how does it work, man?
No, we became mates. Yeah, we did become mates. But it just happened in training and in games. Like, the more we played together, the more we just became a good partnership. Yeah. I mean, like, I was quite vocal. I was always very loud and very vocal on the pitch. Yeah. And in the dressing room, where he was quiet. You know, he spoke on the pitch, but he wasn't like commanding vocally. But he said enough. But he led by example with what he done. Yeah. You know, on the pitch. We just had that perfect balance. Yeah. And as I say, he didn't have to worry about me, so he could concentrate on his game, and I didn't have to worry about him, so I could concentrate on my game. But also, if we did need each other, we was always there. Yeah. You know, so we had a really, really good balance.
Yeah. Now, when I remember when you talk about the dressing room, I remember chatting to I interviewed Luke Chadwick the other week, and Chadders was saying how, like, you know, it was quite fun. You had a good mix that year, that 04-05 season. There was a good mix. Yeah. He was obviously Chadders was only there for like really one season, really.
He's funny. By the way, one of the funniest fellas in football.
He was proper. He's such a nice guy, isn't he? He's lovely.
He's so shy, right? Yeah. Until you get a beer in him. When you get a beer in him, he's a different animal. It's funny.
He's a good man. Honestly, we had a great time. We must have chatted for about. We had the interview, but must have chatted for half an hour before and half an hour afterwards. And he was so like laid back, and he was so honest. He's like, look, I know I wasn't the best player. I got dropped and I got injured, but I love my time at West Ham. And it's like, it was a lovely, really nice interview, lovely guy. Really put you at rest. You know, some players, even fans, you know, you always like feel like you're really trying with them. But he was like, whatever, Russ. I know I'm not good looking. I'm none of this. Look, come on, Chads, come on. He's so funny. Right, we'll go midfield. Let's go left midfield then, Anton. Who have we got left midfield, man?
Joey Cole.
Joey Cole.
Joe Cole.
What a player.
I spoke with him today on the show that I was doing earlier with Coley, Inside Irons.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, like, there's one, when I first started training with the first team, like, I remember one of my first training sessions, it might have been my first training session, we done like a little pig in the middle, but we was in groups. And I went in Coley's group, in Joe Cole's group, and he opened my eyes, man, seriously. We're doing 5v2s, and he opened my eyes, like, we was playing. I was nervous in it, and I was like terrible. I kept giving the ball away, so I had to keep going in the middle. And I lost count of how many times I went in the middle. But afterwards, we was walking to another area of the pitch, of the training pitch, to do something else. And the pride he had that he never went in. Like, he's going, Anton, did you see me? I never, not in a boasty way, but he was just letting me know the levels, the standards that you need to be in the first team. He's like, Anton, did you see, how many times did I go? And I didn't go in once. And I was thinking, Joe Cole's chatting to me about this, like, he don't need to say nothing to me, but he is.
Nah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, he's chatting. How many times did you go in, Anton? You've got to do better than that. I didn't go in once. You got to get to that level, like. And I was like, wow, Joe Cole is chatting to me like this. He's like, he's giving me advice. This is unbelievable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he hit the nail on the head. It was just the way that we were brought up. When I became a first team regular, any youngster that was coming in, I made sure they were welcome. I made sure they were focused. I was the first one to chat to them. You know what I mean? So, like, it was just the way that it was brought up, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. And same for Joe. Joe came in, he came in with sort of, the Hartson era, and he must have had that from them as well. And so it's like, I can see it how it happens now. You got like, it's been sort of a circle of life type thing. You had, obviously, Scott Parker was playing, but you had Nobes, and it was almost like he was the understudy to Parker, and now Deck is the understudy to Nobes, and, hopefully Deck will continue to be the understudy to someone else in a few years' time. But, it's definitely how it works. And, it must have been, watching Joe every day on the training field must have been like, incredible.
Oh, it's frightening. It was, you just didn't want to be up against him.
No, I could totally imagine.
Because you knew he could do something outrageous, and you'd be all over the shop.
Yeah.
No, but to say, like, he was fantastic to watch and to train with.
Yeah, no, and a lovely guy as well. Right, we'll put Joey in. Let's go the other side then. Let's go right midfield. Who do you have right midfield then, Anton?
I was going to go with Trevor Sinclair, but Yossi Benayoun has to go in. Benayoun, telling you, we talk about flair players. He was a flair player, by the way, but he was a flair player that loved the 50-50 challenge. There's not many of them about.
Nah.
There's not many of them about. There never has been any of them. There's not been many of them about over the years. Like, I'm talking, this fella, he could unlock a door, but he'd track his runner all the way back to the other end, into the defending half, to our goal line. He was a joke. He was a joke. And like, in our dressing room, unless you had that graft in you, if you didn't have that graft in you, you got told to get out very, very quickly. Yeah. Like, in our team, if you didn't have certain fundamentals in our team, you wasn't welcomed. Obviously we couldn't say to the player, like, well, pee off, but they wouldn't feel like they wanted to be a part of it, because unless you worked hard every day, unless you had the West Ham work ethic in you can't play for this club. You can't play with us. That's how our dressing room was. But he came in as a flair player who was unreal, but we didn't have to say to him, like, you need to graft. He automatically done it.
Just did it, yeah. And it wasn't it wasn't like he was quite a svelte guy, wasn't he? He wasn't like particularly built. It was quite skinny, but he liked putting it about.
But he had a big heart. That's the thing. He had a big heart, and he understood. I think the club that he was at in Israel, the passion that they had over there, I think that was just installed in him. So that served him well for when he came to West Ham. He understood the culture very quickly, spoke good English straight away, but understood the culture very quickly, and embraced it. Embraced the fans, knew what they wanted from him as a player was to work hard first and foremost, and that's what he done.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, no, good shout. Yeah, Yoshi, he is in. Let's go. Let's go centre midfield. Who's your first centre midfield then, Anton, man?
Hayden Mullins.
Yes. Big Hayden.
Cash. He was the most important player in our starting 11. The most important player he was.
Yeah.
Hands down. If we didn't have him, we wouldn't have been the same team that we wouldn't have been the team that we was in terms of like the excitement.
Yeah.
Like we had no fear playing against teams, especially Upton Park. We were fearless, especially that first year in the Premier League when we got to FA Cup. We were fearless at home, but he allowed us to be like that because of the way that he played. It was people watching wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't see that side of it because as fans, naturally we look for flair, we look for that type of stuff, look for skills, Ole and all that. But he done things that weren't good on the eye. But for a player who played with him, the appreciation was massive. You know, it's a bit like Jordan Henderson now. Jordan Henderson, he's getting the plaudits now because he's won a league. But you ask any player who's played with him, they will say he's one of the best they played with because the stuff that he does goes unnoticed.
Well, it's the same. As I say, it's the same thing with like the Pete Butler thing. You know, it's like he did all that graft, and obviously, you know, famously, you know, there was that game, you know, when we played Liverpool just before the FA Cup final, when they both had a fight and got sent off, and I think we were more in the shit than Liverpool were because Garcia, you could just, he was a good player,
could replace him,
but Mullins was integral, and if he hadn't got sent off, we would have won. I am so sure of that.
Yeah.
Because you're right. He was one of those players who, from the manager's perspective, would have been first on the team sheet. Not necessarily from the fans' perspective, but again, because it was all unnoticed. And again, same thing. Mullins has come up. The only time, I mean, Chadder's put him in. And yeah, I mean, Mullins never came into I interviewed Chadder's. And then obviously, I'm starting to tweet that out, and people go, "Oh yeah, I forgot about Aidan Mullins." And then he's starting to appear in more and more. But yeah, no, Mullins, he was a good player, great player, and a good guy as well. Right, okay, who's Mullins going to partner in the midfield? Then Anton.
Who am I going to put in?
Who are you going to put in?
Actually, can I change it? Sorry to be like awkward. Can I put Joey Cole in midfield with him?
Yeah, of course you can.
Put Yossi on the left.
Yeah.
And put Trevor Sinclair on the right.
Yeah, of course you can.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, we'll put Sinks in. Yeah, no worries, man. So yeah, put Trevor on the right. Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, Trevor Sinclair, man, he was like. Obviously, watching him play and then training with him. I never got to play a match with him, but I trained with him. He was a joke, man. Like his fitness levels, his work ethic every day was different to everyone else's. He was an absolute animal. I remember walking past the gym, and the gym was like the little gym back in the day in at Chadwell Heath. What is now, what is it? It might be the kit room now at Chadwell Heath. It's like a little room. And he was on a treadmill and he was sprinting. But I'd walked past and he was sprinting on the treadmill. It must have been on about 17 kilometers per hour and he was going at it. And I went in the treatment to get a bit of ice and I come back and he was still on the same pace. And I was like, this guy's still running the same, he's sprinting at this pace. I couldn't believe it. I knew his fitness levels were unbelievable. But I remember the first time I was ever in the squad for West Ham was away at Tottenham at White Hart Lane. And my name was on the board and I didn't have a boot at the time. I was my own boot boy. I cleaned my own boots.
Yeah.
I didn't give my boots to the kit man, Eddie. I took them with me because I wasn't a first team player. So I took everything myself, my shin pads, my boots. And I remember we had pre-match meal before we went to White Hart Lane. We had pre-match meal at Upton Park. So I turned up at Upton Park and had my boots with me and my shin pads. And Trevor's just started laughing. And I went, what are you laughing at? He went, why did you bring your boots for? He went, you ain't going to need them. Like, you just say you're not going to be involved. Like, why have you brought them? And I was like, Trev, don't watch me, man. I might need them. Potentially, I might need them, innit? I said, but I'm ready. And he just started giggling. And but he was someone. So like when I came into the first team, obviously when I started training with the first team, a lot of the players I was training with, they played with Rio, and a lot
yeah, of course.
You know, a lot of them have played with Rio and watched Rio grow up and watched Rio leave for £18 million to Leeds. So a lot of them judged me before I'd even stepped into the first team because they knew I was on my way there. But a lot of them probably judged me before I got there. But he's someone who always spoke to me and said, listen, you're your own man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what Rio done is Rio. It's your time now. You do what you need to do. You know, the likes of him, Jermaine Defoe, that's what they spoke to me. Joe Cole, they always spoke to me and reassured me because I've got to remember a lot of these players, the Canio, like I trained with them. I didn't play much with them, but I trained with them. They all played with Rio. Yeah, so I had that added pressure of going in and training with them. I was like, these guys are comparing me before I even stepped on the pitch. They're comparing me with him. The first 5 minutes of training, they're going to compare me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was hard. But like I said, Trevor helped me along in that process.
Yeah, good shout. I'll put sinks in. Yeah. Nice one. Okay, let's go up front then. Who are we going to have up front? This is going to be interesting, I think. Who's going to be your strikers? Who's your first striker, Anton?
My first striker is Paolo Di Canio.
Yeah.
Can't not have Paolo in there.
No, man. Nutter. Absolute nutter. But
as a West Ham fan, it's impossible.
Yeah, no, you're right.
As a West Ham fan, it's impossible.
Absolute genius of a player. Absolute genius.
I remember training with him and you know the chop that he used to do?
Yeah.
Chop, it's one of those, because I've watched him for years, I knew his body language, I knew it was going to come. I knew he was going to do the chop, but he would chop. And it's like there's nothing I could do about it.
Nah.
Just the way he positioned his body, there's nothing I could have done. I couldn't do nothing about it, you know. But let's say a fantastic player.
Yeah.
In awe when watching him, when training with him and watching him.
Yeah.
I was in awe, always in awe of him.
Yeah. No, I get that. And he always used to do that fake back heel, which everyone used to fall for. And it's like, it was the most... he almost telegraphed it. I'm going to do a fake back heel, and he still does it. And everyone goes, "What?" You know, he was an incredible player, and obviously as a fan, for me, obviously someone like Payet was probably technically the best player I've seen, but Paolo was the best player because you've got the technicality and the passion, the entertainment as well. Football is, it's a sport, but for the fans, they want to be entertained.
Cool. And he would do that. Here's a thing that might take a few people with surprise. Payet wouldn't have got in my West Ham team.
Nah.
In the team that I played in.
No.
I don't think he would have got into my team.
Should he be kicked out because he wasn't putting it in?
Probably that. But even I don't think he gets in our team. We got Yossi Benayoun on the right and Matt Everett on the left. I don't think he gets in.
Nah. It was a different...
And they both graft.
Yeah, I think it's the graft side, definitely, wasn't it? I mean, it's like, I mean, he was...
Technically, he's a joke. He's a joke. But to get in the team that I played in, you had to have more than just technical ability. You had to have something about you in there, which when you lost the ball, you went and got it back.
Yeah, he didn't. No. No, that wasn't Payet, was it? But as you said, Paolo, he was just all over the place. He was an absolute, joke of a player. He was fantastic. And again, similar to Tevez, just West Ham. He's got a West Ham tattoo. I mean, he's branded himself at the club, and he's great, man. He's great. I love PDC. One day he'll be on. Okay, and who is Paolo going to partner in the up front? Who's this last piece? This Anton Pie.
It's Carlitos Tevez.
Carlitos.
Yeah.
He's a good. I mean, again, what was it like? What was it like that whole sort of time when him and Mascherano just turning up at Chadwell Heath?
It was surreal. I mean, obviously we knew of them. They were big Argentinian,
of course,
international players. Even though they were young, they were my age.
Yeah.
When they come, but they're already established. Especially Tevez was established, and I just remember for me personally, it was, I can't wait to show him I'm a good player. Like, I couldn't wait to get out to training. But then you get out to training, and he was probably the worst trainer I've ever trained with. He's the only player that got away with not grafting in training in our squad. He's the only player that I've seen in the West Ham squads that I've been in who got away with not grafting, because we knew on a Saturday he'd be the hardest working out of everyone. But he's the only one that I know. But in terms of training, he was. If we were doing keep balls, or we were doing like if we were doing anything like a warm up or keep ball, and that, he didn't really want to know. He just try and nutmeg you and stuff. But he came alive in the little 7v7s or shooting practice. He came alive. But anything else, he didn't want to know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was just crazy to see someone that went from, at times in training, not really getting above a jog, to then coming out on a Saturday, he's the best player.
Yeah.
He was a joke. But even his personality, like we talk about, I've spoken about a lot on here about, if to be in our dressing room, you had to be a certain way. Yeah. He couldn't speak any English, right, when he came. And we had an interpreter, him and Javier. But we went out one night to a nightclub in West End, Embassy. Tevez come with us. And he brought the interpreter with him. He come out. And I'm telling you, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like, he was on the dance floor for about 3 hours. And I was saying to the boys, this is why he don't train. This is why he don't train hard. He saved himself for the dance floor. That's what it is. But he was like dancing away, and you see people double taking him. That's Carlos Tevez. That's Tevez. Like, but he just didn't care. But that made the boys love him even more.
Yeah, I get it.
He knew how big he was. He knew he was, because we were like Premier League famous. He was worldwide famous. He came for Argentina. Do you know what I mean? But he didn't care. He was just like one of us. Yeah. And I think that was the biggest thing. And he was just an unbelievable player. And he's the best striker I've played, the best player I've played with.
Really?
Like, always available when you had the ball at your feet. He was always available. He was a joke, man. He was unbelievable. Yeah.
No, he was an incredible player. And obviously, he famously brought in the cross diet. You know, no one did it. No, someone used it in the 70s, and he did it playing for Man United, and then it just went like that again. I mean, absolutely better. No, he was a great player, and it must have been. I mean, it's probably the same as us. You know, you're on. I don't know, it was on BBC website at work, and then your little ticker, West Ham aside, Carlos Tevez and Javier Mascarot. You went like, what?
Yeah, it was mad.
It's mad.
It was crazy. It was crazy, and like, I must say though, if I wasn't doing a half fan, half player team, Mark Noble would have been in my team, by the way.
Of course, yeah.
100%. That fella, man. Seriously, I've got nothing but goodness to say about him.
Yeah, I know.
I remember him, his first training session with the first team, and I was in the first team, training with the first team. I wasn't playing, but I was training. Yeah. And like, I think he must have been at about 14 or 15, and he come and trained with us with the first team. And we was inside, and we done an indoor game. I think it was 11 indoors at Chapter Leaf. And he was playing with Steve. We had Steve Lomas on our team and stuff, who was a senior player at the time. And I remember him saying to Lomi, give me the ball. Like, give me the ball. Like, he was demanding the ball off senior pros. And like, I think, I'm not sure, I can't speak for Lomi, but I'm sure man Lomi would have been looking at him thinking, you cheeky so-and-so.
Of course.
You're 15 years old. So, but then he would give him the ball, but fire it into him, hoping he'd probably give it away. So he could say, you asked for the ball and you're giving the bloody ball away. But Nobes never give the ball. Nobes don't give the ball away. He always keeps it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and I remember like, wow, like this boy's 14, 15 years old, and he is the man the ball for these fellas. And I use that in the work that I'm doing at the moment in terms of mentoring players. Yeah. At my agency, Neuro Global Sports Management, I use that story a lot. When players are going into first team sessions, I use Mark Noble's story, the way that he was when he came to the first training session with us. I use that a lot because that's the only way you gain respect off of your senior pros. Is not to be rude. You can't be rude, but you can back your ability and demand the ball for them 100%.
Yeah.
And I think they respected the fact that he was doing that even at 14, 15 years of age.
No, definitely.
But he's gone on to make. He's come up to 500
mental
appearances for the club.
Yeah.
He's club captain. He's like, listen, I've got nothing but admiration for the man. Yeah. I was about to say for the boy. I say boy because I've known him since he was a kid.
Yeah.
For the man, he's just like, listen, everything that what West Ham epitomises is him.
Exactly. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I'm one of the 300 who can go into the game, and so I sit right at the top of the box, in the white box by the press, and Mark obviously wasn't in the squad yesterday, and he sat just by the way the disabled guys are, just between the press box and the pitch, and I think it was him, and I think David Martin was 2 meters away from him, and when that third goal went in, you saw, and I could just see the back of him. But I could just see how much that meant to him as a fan, let alone a player. It was literally, if he could have punched a hole in that wall, he was going absolutely mental. And it was like, obviously, no one saw it, but I saw it, and again, I just went, the man's a legend. And knowing him, first and foremost, he won't want the club to go down because he loves the club. Yeah,
but secondary to that, he wouldn't want to be the captain of a West Ham team that got relegated. He wouldn't want that. As a West Ham man that he is, he doesn't want that on his CV that he was a West Ham captain that got relegated.
No,
and he don't deserve that.
No.
For what he's done for this football club over the years, he don't deserve it.
No. Well, hopefully yesterday is gonna started going. West Ham. We have been lucky. You look at the teams around us. I think only since the restart, I think there's only one game which has gone against us, which was Brighton beating Arsenal. Every other one has, been a draw or a loss for everyone around us. So we've finally taken advantage of that. And Newcastle hammering Bournemouth as well. You look at the next 6 games, next 2 fixtures for everyone. We've got 2 very winnable games, touch wood, and Villa got Liverpool and someone else, and
this is where we got to show character.
Yeah, definitely.
We got to show character now. Like this, like it's that Chelsea game's easy because even though we know we're not favourites to win that game. Now we beat Chelsea. We're going into a Burnley game. We're now favourites to win that game because we beat Chelsea.
Yeah.
So it's different, but we're favourites. But we have to win for us. We need 3 points. The club needs 3 points. Yeah. So there's a difference. And I just hope that, I just hope that the momentum's with us after that win. Everyone's lifted. Everyone's energized. Because when you win a game, you don't feel tired.
Nah.
That's the hardest thing. When you're losing, you feel tired. You feel tired quicker. You feel your energy sapped.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're winning or you win games, you can run on empty, but still run through a brick wall.
Totally. I mean, the season, the playoff season. The last 10 games we lost 1. We came out of 7th, and momentum. And it's true. It's all about momentum now. The teams that are going to put 2 or 3 wins together on the bounce are the ones that are staying up. And that's the case. And we'll see. As long as Andy Carroll doesn't haunt us and score against us when we play Newcastle, which I don't think. AC's a lovely guy, but we'll see. Anton, man, it's been absolutely amazing talking to you. It's been really nice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It's been a long day talking about West Ham all day. It's actually with Scully. Fucking hell, I know.
I can speak about West Ham for hours.
Oh, good man. I know. But with Scully and Colton and Joe and all that, sometimes. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. And obviously, everyone who's watching will appreciate everything you said, because it's really, everything you've come is really, really heartfelt. So thank you so much, Anton. Obviously, thank you for everyone watching as well. Like, share, subscribe. Obviously, all the support for the channel. Really appreciate all the messages and stuff. It's really going. Can't believe we're almost hitting 1,000 subscribers in 6 weeks. It's absolutely mental. But thank you so much. And for me and Anton, take care, everybody. We'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.